Over-exaggerated action, panda cars, dubstep guns, a bald eagle jet, Keith David himself, and yes, you can still play as a toilet. This is Saints Row 4. Its predecessor was both praised and criticized for its over-the-top action and its parody and portrayal of well-known sequences from AAA games. But if Saints Row the Third took believability to an 11, then the fourth installment easily catapults it to an even 12 on the batshit crazy scale with the addition of superpowers, aliens, mech suits, and even more all-out randomness. But in an effort to make the game stand out, has Volition degraded the Saints' name, or is this one freak show you'll want to take part in? The leader of the 3rd Street Saints has just saved the world from a nuclear missile attack and has been promoted to presidency. However, things quickly turn south as the planet is invaded by aliens who take over and abduct the president's homies. Our hero is then thrust into a simulation of Steelport, albeit under alien control. From here, the story focuses primarily on the leader of the Saints escaping the simulation and forming a small crew to take down this evil alien empire. It's cheesy, melodramatic, and pretty predictable, but it's how the game developers have always portrayed Saints Row, and that doesn't change here. Volition has made some serious improvements in gameplay. Finally, an open game has made it possible to save vehicles without having to use a garage, and as a result, jacking vehicles is a lot more convenient. Something else even more convenient is the addition of superpowers, which make trekking through the city an absolute joy. You're completely spoiled though, so if you go back from SR4 to play GTA or any other open world game, it feels slow and sluggish in comparison. For an example, I went back and played a little bit of Saints Row the Third while I was recording Saints Row 4, and I'm not gonna lie, I did kind of swear at the TV because I couldn't jump a building in a single bound and fly over to where I needed to go enter a mission. I had to go jack a car and drive there. And I couldn't even run through traffic. I had to dodge it, and it just... boo-hoo, right? Exactly. First world problems. Back on topic, levels can vary from missions as simple as causing havoc to parodies of old-school text adventures. Saints Row 4 does an excellent job of parodying famous moments or jokes from pulp culture video games. One of my favorite ones in particular is a retro-style parody game called Saints of Rage. It has 3 whole levels and is complete with a 16-bit soundtrack. Other references include Mortal Kombat, Mass Effect, Minecraft, Call of Duty, and a pretty humorous Metal Gear Solid bit. And there's tons more, but I don't want to spoil them for you. Guns have been given more customization, and the over-the-top melee attacks never cease to amaze. Powers feel sort of unbalancing, but I'm pretty sure they're meant to feel this way with their cooldown times lasting long enough that they can't be spammed. Powers can be gained by fighting and absorbing wardens, and they can be upgraded with little collectibles scattered across the overworld called clusters. If there's anything to complain about, it's that because of powers, homies and vehicles in general kind of become useless. It's a pain to be fighting an army of enemies only to turn around and see one of your crew has fallen off a building or got shot and killed. And likewise for vehicles, why would you jack a vehicle when you can just jump over a building and fly over to your destination 90% faster? Overall though, the gameplay is a huge improvement over its predecessor both in terms of variety and substance. Multiplayer returns once again, and the entire campaign can be played through with a friend, although a word of warning, it ramps up the action significantly and can sometimes lead to your downfall. But it's fun, and I definitely recommend it if you're having trouble with certain missions. Volition has done a great job in the creation of the soundtrack for SR4, and you can tell they're clearly having a blast with it, with their many remixes of iconic themes from the franchise history, and the retro remixes of the Saints of Rage levels. The radio stations, as before, cover a wide range of music from rock to hip-hop to even classic rap and more. I especially like the themes they created for the Genki events and the Zin melody because it's dramatic and desolate sounding and is in complete contrast to the upbeat, playful dubstep remixes that riddle the game. Speaking of which, there is a dubstep gun, and while in theory the idea of it existing is a pretty dumb one, it's actually a very interesting and useful gun that innovates by attacking enemies to the beat of music. And to my knowledge, I don't think I've ever seen a gun in a video game do that before. And I overall just think it's a really interesting idea. Anyway, on the voice acting front, Volition has put together a really stellar cast. With additions like Keith Richards himself, you know you're in for a treat. And I won't ruin it, but a few more celebrities show up throughout the game to contribute their talents. The world of Saints Row is a glitchy one, and I do mean that quite literally. Since you're in the simulation, objects in the world will flicker and distort, which is quite a nice touch. However, not everything is perfect. Due to just how big the game is, it's easy to glitch your way into areas you shouldn't be able to get into, and it usually results in you having to reload a previous save, which is a bit of a pain. Also, something really annoying that I notice is after about 2 hours of gameplay, the loading screens will freeze sometimes, and it's a bit of a piss off when you're sitting there trying to record like 26 hours of footage and it freezes every 2 hours. Just saying. Bit annoying. But on to the topic of graphics, they haven't seen too big of a leap since SR3, but they are improved. Oddly, hair still looks and acts like plasticine on characters, and physics pretty much get thrown out the window when superpowers get introduced. The camera also becomes your worst enemy in tight spaces due to the way the powers over-exaggerate your movement. Still, it is amazing that the whole city loads in and looks as good as it does and keeps such a pretty steady frame rate. It's also cool to see locations from previous Saints Row games being remade in the SR4 engine. It's not perfect, but it holds together and it's very ambitious. And while humor is subjective to most people, I can say without a doubt that this is one of the funniest games I've ever played, and it ranks up pretty high up there, even with Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, I'd say. Unfortunately, one thing that really kind of irks me is the fact that everything's sort of the same from Saints Row the Third. It's the same city, with the same vehicle models, and the same character model. Like, I don't know, I just feel like not enough new content was actually added to the game in terms of the main hub world. And just overall in the long run, it really makes the game sort of seem lazy. It seems like over the years, game design has become more business than fun. But with companies like Volition around, this will never fully be true. You can tell when something's a great product because the team has put their heart and soul into it. And you can tell Volition is having lots of fun developing SR4, from the crazy plot situations to the overly forced dialogue to them just having random drawings and pictures of themselves all over the credits and in-game. They are proud of this product, and it shows. You know, there was that one guy sitting in the office of Volition going, you know what'd be cool, guys? What if we did like a giant homage to Streets of Rage? We could do that, right? And everybody's like, yeah, we could do that. And what if we had Minecraft weapons and a panda suit? Everybody's like, yeah, let's do it. They're not afraid to have fun at the expense of something not making sense. However, I can't let bias get in the way of my judgments, because SR4 does have flaws, but they're really only as big as you make them. If you come into the series from playing Saints Row the Third, you might not like Saints Row 4 as much. But if you haven't played any of the Saints Rows, I think Saints Row 4 is a really good starting point for you, regardless of the sort of already established characters. Besides, the developers sort of put these little intro cutscenes in before certain missions that sort of tell the story of previous Saints Row games to sort of get you up to speed in case you haven't played the previous Saints Row games. But all in all, Saints Row 4 remembers what it means to be a video game. It doesn't have to be hyper-realistic or have perfect graphics or even make sense for that matter. because at the end of the day, games are about escaping from reality and having fun and a good time, and that's what Saints Row 4, I'm proud to say, delivers.